Hello and welcome back to Solid. My name is Jake. Thank you guys very much for joining me on this Battlehawks Week One what am I calling it? A ReHawktion is what I'm going to call it. Your St. Louis Battlehawks are 1-0 after they just absolutely Bufu'd the Houston Roughnecks. Man, like that was 31-6, and up until I would consider it garbage time. It was a shutout, man. What an amazing game. I was wrong about a few things. Start with the minor ones. Turns out rain not there. Beautiful night. It looked like there was it was blue skies whenever you could see them. I was told that there was going to be rain. And then I told you guys that there was going to be rain. And I said that it was going to be a really shitty looking game because of the rain. That was wrong. The rain apparently hit and was just gone. It was like, oh, actually, it's going to be a delightful night. So that was one thing I was wrong on. I said that the Battlehawks wouldn't cover the 6-point spread. These are minor things. They did. They beat the absolute shit out of them. It was again a Bufu. They just took it and put it right in the 2-hole. Man, that was a Bufu to the purest. That you know what? The last football game that we saw also a Bufu. It was also a Bufu. That was also, I don't know if you guys saw the other game that happened before this one, but it was also a Bufu. That game, if you're listening to this and not watching, if you're listening to this and not watching, you can watch it on Solid Pod on YouTube if you're watching it and you just want to listen to it because you don't like the thing that I'm holding up right now. What does that say? It says Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles, Super Bowl 59. That's what that says. The last football game that we saw was also a Bufu of epic proportions. And that one, honestly, I'm not going to lie to you guys, that one made me feel a little bit better than this one, because that's the one that team means more to me than anything in my entire life. But no, this game also was a boot. I just want to make sure that I put this towel back on my chair. This towel that says that the Eagles are Super Bowl 52 champions. We don't care about that. You're not here for that. You're here for this Battlehawks talk. So I was wrong about that. I was wrong about the weather. I was wrong about the cover. I was right about the under. I was right about that barely. I thought this game was going to be a 14-12 kind of a thing. But man, I was also wrong about Manny Wilkins. And listen, if I'm wrong about something, I'm going to tell you. I'm not gonna just fart around and be like, wow, I was surprised by I was surprised, but I'm not gonna tell you be like, I'm just wait, or I'm gonna own up to it. That's my point here. That's my point. Manny Wilkins had a great game. The last time we saw Manny Wilkins, I had reason to believe that he was not going to perform well for this game, and I was delightfully wrong. He what did his final numbers end up being? He was 17 for 22. That's a 77.3 completion percentage, 189 yards, 102.3 quarterback rating. That's out of like 145-ish or whatever it is. So that's good. Over 100 that's a good number. And obviously we saw it. We know that it's a good number. And then he rushed 8 times for 43 yards. That's 2 touchdowns. Honestly, I don't want to take the 2 touchdowns out of it. I mean, one of them was the one where he jumped up and just dinked it over. The other one was like that 1-yard one where he ran out to the side and dove. That was a really good one. So let's call it, I guess we have to call it 8 for 43 for 2 touchdowns, but in the open field he was 6 for 41. Let's call it that. He had a good game. He had a good game. I think obviously there was some stuff that he could have done better. He overthrew a few guys. He didn't make a few reads to pull the trigger quickly. He had that kind of a tough pass to Hakeem Butler where he just in the end zone where he put it on Hakeem Butler, but he probably could have led Hakeem Butler a little bit. That's picking nits. I think Manny Wilkins did a really good job. And I thought that he was going to do poorly, and I thought that everything was doomed. It was delightful to see, and I was wrong. And Manny, I'm wrong. If I dog, and I'm gonna dog people if they do bad. I'm gonna dog people if they do bad. I'll dog cuss you if you do bad. But when you do good, I'm gonna give you your props. I'm not going to ignore that. I mean, that's how it goes. If you don't do that, you're a dickhead and an asshole. Like, you're a coward. But Manny Wilkins had a good game. Now, for this entire game as a whole, and I'm gonna get to my favorite part, which, hey, spoiler, the running game fucking crushed it. You have to remember that this Houston team is absolute dog shit. They are just a really, really bad football team. They were 1-9 last year. And again, this is all the first week. This is all week one. These, for them, so many of them, 6 guys on each side of the ball had not played together. They were marching out 2 quarterbacks. It was brand spanking new them playing with these teammates. To the point, honestly, is that so CJ Johnson's that guy's a dum dum. That guy's a doofus. That guy, he stinks, brother. 1-9 last season, and then you come into this game and you let the Battlehawks walk up to you, grab your dick by the base, and just rip it out by the root. Like, that's crazy. Like, they tried to revamp so much of the team just for them to have the same sorry shit happen to them, man. They were really bad. And see, I don't their season has to be over, right? Like, one game into a 10-game season, like, it's easy to say that it's got to be over, but CJ Johnson just offers nothing, does he? Like, I wish that I had the confidence that he had when he threw that challenge flag. He goes, "That was a DPI. I know it." It's like, brother, you don't know it, dummy. Like, it was closer to an offensive pass interference than it was a defensive pass interference, you stupid idiot. And then, how are you on that team and not just ultimately questioning all of his decisions? Because that was what happened. Like, they had a quarterback battle between Anthony Brown and Nolan Henderson. All right, Nolan Henderson got like all of the starting reps in training camp, and then CJ Johnson's just like, well, fuck it, I don't know what I'm doing. How about we just let Anthony Brown be the starting quarterback? And then he came out and sucked absolute dick. He was 5 for 11 for 21 yards, threw 2 interceptions. His first throw of the season was an interception. It's the second play. It was the second play. He throws an interception, man. It's like, to be fair, it was a really good defensive play. It was a really good defensive play. Who was that tipped that? Was that Quinterio Cole comes down, a safety comes down, tips it to himself and gets a pick. Bad throw. But yeah, no, that was not. Anyway, Anthony Brown was terrible. And this is the guy that CJ Johnson was like, I think he's got it. And then he clearly didn't have it. They pulled him. Nolan Henderson came in and at least offered the team something. It wasn't a whole lot, but at least he offered them something, like, how are you on that team and like look at CJ Johnson in the locker room and be like, this guy's got some secret. This guy's got something and he's gonna pull it out. It's like, no, he pulled it out already. He pulled it out and pissed on himself, man. Like, whoof. So my point is that with all of this, it's week 1 and the Roughnecks are dog shit. That's my point. That being said, you beat the fuck out of dog shit teams. That's what good teams do. If it's a close game to a dog shit team, that's the startling thing. And to be able to come out in week 1, you know that the Battlehawks kind of have like a little bit of a lollipop for this first game, but to come out with a new quarterback, new play caller, and just come out and just beat the fuck out of them for 60 minutes, like, dude, it's a good feeling. It's a good feeling. The most dominant person, no, it's not a person. The offensive line was incredible this game. The offensive line was incredible this game. Man, they had a few hiccups. They had a few hiccups with the holding calls that they had earlier on in the game. And I would account that to just like a level of being uncomfortable. Okay, so think about it like this. When you are in training camp, you're in practice, you're and it's a passing play, okay? Because a lot of Manny Wilkins' yards were on scrambles. When I will say he looked a little bit uncomfortable whenever he was doing play actions, and then he would turn his back to fake the handoff, and he would turn back around. And not only was the secondary in like a different look, I will have to go back and like rewatch it to see just how different it was. But I'm assuming that the secondary was in a little bit of a different look because that's the smart way to play football. But then he also just had like a guy in his face. Sometimes there's a I believe on the sack that he had on that naked bootleg, he got absolutely steamrolled. But when the offensive line is practicing, they're not practicing for the quarterback to scramble and run like that. It's almost like a broken play in practice. So they're not exactly comfortable with their quarterback getting out of the pocket. Like what they're trying to do is hold the pocket and block for their quarterback. So whenever your quarterback does bail out of the pocket, there will be holds like that. And that's kind of what I would account that to, is just like a level of them being uncomfortable. Because I believe both holds were on the tackles. Both holds on the offensive line were on the tackles. I could be wrong. I know that one was on Hakeem Butler, and that's because he's a wide receiver. But I think that's what that's the reason behind those hiccups, at least in my mind. But they played really good. I mean, the Battlehawks, man, they rushed for 273 yards. That is disgusting. That is disgusting. And then you also, when I go back and I do the recop later on, I'll have to check and see exactly how many of the of those, like, because there was a handful of the Manny Wilkins throws behind the line of scrimmage. I'll have to check and see like what the offensive line was doing for that. But I'm assuming that they were doing good just because they were doing good the entire game. Man, it was, what a good game by them. Man, 273 yards on that. I'm not gonna discount Jacob Sailors. He was awesome. But that Jarvian Howard 74-yard touchdown run, man, get the hell out of here. I was so happy that they gave us that shot from behind the line of scrimmage of just seeing Abdul Beacham. Guy comes in, he's getting, I don't know if it's his first start, but it's his first time being the season starter. Comes in, and man, he's just bulldozing people. Get the fuck out of my way, this guy. Opening up holes on both sides of him, getting downfield and just making these awesome blocks. Gives Jarvian Howard some fucking massive holes, man. He's giving him these massive holes to run through. It was unreal what these guys were doing. It was terrific. So Jarvian Howard, he has 13 carries for 115 yards and that huge touchdown. Jake Sailors, 16 carries for 96 yards and a touchdown. Manny Wilkins, like I said, had 8 for 43. Max Duggan had the 3 for 12. He had the 15-yard. The other two, the reason that he has 2 extra carries and 3 fewer yards than that 15 yards because he took the knees out at the end. And then Blake Jackson had an end around, 1 carry for 5 yards. Man, it was just a 273 fucking yards and 4 touchdowns. Man, it was that's bully ball. It's bully ball. And I spent the entire fall watching the Eagles playing bully ball. And if you were like not a fan of the way that the Eagles were playing football, now you get to watch bully ball, like to be on the right side of history and watch a team just absolutely beat the shit out of the other team for a full 60 minutes. It was awesome. I want to look at this real quick. I haven't looked at this yet, but to see the time of possession, so that the Battlehawks, come on, give me the time of possession. Give me the time of possession. I wonder if I can find it on here. What the Control F time of? Oh fuck! Come on, dude. Time of possession. The Battlehawks had the ball for 35 minutes and 33 seconds. The Roughnecks had it for 24 minutes and 27 seconds. 25 minutes and 33 seconds to 24 minutes and 27 seconds. In the first half, Battlehawks had the ball for 21 minutes and 38 seconds. to Houston's 8 minutes and 22. They just beat the shit out of them and just held on to the ball for so long. This is the Battlehawks drive chart. Okay, first possession where it ended up being the turnover on downs. 6 plays, 20 yards, 4 minutes. Second drive, 10 plays, 5 minutes and 30 seconds. Third drive, 9 plays for 43 seconds. Fourth drive, 11 plays for 6:28. The drive after that was going into halftime. That was 57 seconds. Drive after that, 7 plays, 4 minutes. 12 plays, 7:43. 2 plays, 54 seconds, and that was a touchdown. And that was the that was a Jarvian Howard touchdown. Like they just beat the ever living piss out of them the entire game. The defense, man, the defense was unreal. Let's look at some of these defensive numbers real quick. Let's. I guess we should look at what what Houston actually did. Houston, Anthony Brown had a total of 21 passing yards and 2 interceptions. Nolan Henderson 68 passing yards and 1 touchdown at the end against that. What do they say? Whiteside was in. Whiteside's not a starter. As far as rushing yards go, Nolan Henderson had 54 rushing yards. That's over half of what their team had as a whole. They had 94 total rushing yards. It's like, yeah, that's kind of something that we assumed. It really, honestly, it seems like every team in the UFL and going back to the XFL has trouble containing that quarterback run. So yeah, Nolan Henderson had 4 carries for 54 yards. But man, it was great. The best receiver on the Roughnecks was Justin Hall, 5 catches for 40 yards and a touchdown. He got targeted 10 times and only came out with it 5 times, man. It was that defensive line was just putting pressure on both quarterbacks, left and right. It goes down. You know what? That's dog shit. The onside kick, the alternate kickoff is what they're calling it, the 4th and 12 thing. Pita Tamoipenu gets back there and just slams Nolan Henderson into the ground. Ends up being called a face mask, and because Pita Tamoipenu's hands were like stuck to Nolan Henderson's visor. It's like it's not the dude's fault that he had a visor. Like, wait, yeah, I mean, it's not a face mask. Do like heads like to the hand, like a personal foul. Don't give me a face mask or something like that. If you're gonna call it, don't call it that. Like that sucks. That was really sorry. But ball don't lie. Ball don't lie, man. There's truths to this world, and one of them is that the ball do not lie. Because then Pita Tamoipenu ends the game with 2 back-to-back sacks, winning just on speed. Doesn't have to overpower anybody. Just gets back there and just drags Nolan Henderson down to the ground. Ball don't lie. That was beautiful, man. The defense played outstanding. Let's see. Lucas Dennis had 4 tackles, 2 solo for an interception and 2 pass breakups. Quinterio Cole, interception and a pass breakup. Chris Payton-Jones, a pass breakup. Chris Garrett had a pass breakup. I believe that was on Nolan Henderson's first play that he came into the game. Pita Tamoipenu, 2 tackles for a loss, 2 sacks. Chris Garrett, a tackle for a loss. Cameron Kelly had 2 PBUs. Man, they were just everywhere on this team. They did not let them get anything going. It's so frustrating when your offense makes it look like there's something difficult. Like it makes it look like the entire game is like tough. And that is exactly what this Battlehawks defense did to a bad offense. Like it was probably going to look tough for them to begin with, but the defense just suffocated them the entire game. Man, it was beautiful. As far as reaction goes, yeah, I'll get more into like some like analysis and stuff later on. Like I said, when I do that recap, a few things that I had, gripes that I had. You know, I'll give. Should I go Dum Dum first? I'm gonna go Dum Dum first on Anthony Becht. His handling of 4th downs, I don't get it. And to be fair to him, the 4th downs came earlier in the game before like it was outwardly apparent that the Battlehawks offensive line was going to just absolutely dog walk that team the entire time. Like so it it came later in the game when this offensive line was just like, we're actually the best unit on the field right now. That being said, when he kicked that field goal on 4th and 2, it's congratulations, you came away with points, but process over results with this kind of a thing, dude. Process over results. 4th and 2 from, I think, let's see, 4th and 2 from, if I can see the scoring drive, which one was that? How the drive ended with the field goal. That was the Battlehawks' first drive in the second quarter. Okay, so let's go to the second quarter. Just want to make sure that I'm getting this correct. This is probably bad to listen to. Manny Wilkins rushes up the middle. Why the fuck can't I find it? But it was a 4th and 2 from the roughneck side of the field. It might have been like their 40-yard line or something like that. It was, or maybe even like 30. It was a really short one. It's like, dude, you gotta go for it there. It's so short. You know that your defense is choking this team out left and right. Like, you know, you got to trust your defense in that kind of a situation. Like, that's, to me, when it comes to, that's one aspect of trusting your defense, is being like, you know what, maybe we're not necessarily going to be pinning them back on like the 1 yard line. And that's an easy one to be like, yeah, I'm going for it. I'm going to trust my defense there. But it'll be a relatively short field for Houston, but you got to trust your defense. Go for it there. If you don't get it, fucking tough. Your defense will be able to stop them. But man, it's a 4th and 2. You know that you're going to get that. You know that you're going to get that. You got 2 running backs. You got Jarvian Howard. Let's not, because he's got the huge run, but his average ended up being 8.8 yards per carry. Jacob Saylors is averaging 6.1 yards per carry at the end of the game. Like, you know that these guys are going to be able to break this. You got to trust your offensive line. Just run the goddamn ball, man. Just run the ball. And then there's the other 4th down where they called another passing play on like a 4th and 1 or something like that. Man, it's just like, dude, you gotta just run it. Just run it, man. Just run it. Don't they did some under center running plays too, and honestly, and you don't normally see that a lot, because you like your quarterback to be able to kind of see the entire field and give him a little bit of time. But you have these under center runs, and they're working. Just to line up and shotgun on a 4th and short. It's like, why make it? Why make the ball have to go further? Just run the just give me a hoagie. Let me have fucking sauce and onions dripping from my face, sitting in the 300 level, yelling, "Run the ball, damn it!" That's where I'm at. But going back to the field goal, and then it was going into the 2-minute warning as well. They went into the 2-minute warning, and I was like, okay, maybe they're just showing field goal, and they'll come out and they'll actually run it. And then they came out and they're like, oh, fake field goal. They're gonna do a brotherly shove. They're gonna do that. They're gonna and then they did it. And I was like, okay, so maybe they call the timeout. Maybe they're actually gonna run an offensive play now. And I got faked out 3 times. Thinking that they were actually going to make a smart decision, but they didn't. I don't know. That's just one gripe is Beck's handling of the 4th down. One thing that I will say to give him his flowers is that his super challenge, nailed it. He had 2 of them, or he had 1 if he gets it right. And you're probably going to get it right. But to use it save it till the 4th quarter, bitch. Save it till the 4th quarter. And then it worked on a DPI, man. That was truly what a good move by him. He's learning, baby. Our big tone is learning. Man, it was a good game. It was a fun game to watch. Going into halftime, here were the numbers. Battlehawks, this is at half. Battlehawks were up, had 267 total rushing yards to Houston's 48. 165 to Houston's, 165 passing to Houston's 21. 100 rushing yards to Houston's 27. The 3 penalties, like I said, 2 of them were holds on the offensive line. 1 was on the wide receivers, was on Hakeem Butler specifically. To Houston's 1, which is on special teams after that really good Ja'Cour Pearson return. The Battlehawks in the first half had 15 first downs to Houston's 2. Battlehawks in the first half were 5 of 8 on 3rd downs to Houston's 2 for 5. 0 for 1 on 4th downs. They had 41 total plays in the first half to Houston's 17. 2 for 3 in the red zone to Houston's 0. Man, it was great. It was a great game. Again, this is just a reaction kind of a thing for me. Just wanted to get this out there. If you're feeling happy about this game, you should. It was a dominant game. Manny Wilkins proved me wrong. He proved me wrong. Not that that matters to him. He doesn't give a shit about me. I'm just some dumbass who's yelling, run the ball, which he did really good. But he played a good game. Dealt the ball where it needed to be dealt. There's a few things that he could tighten up, but he played. I assumed that he would just have it be a nothing burger, and I was 100% wrong about him. Right now, Manny Wilkins guy, Jake Beckman. We did see a little bit of Max Duggan on 2 plays. Really would have been cool. I mean, we saw what he has in his bag. A 15-yard run to come in, have that be your first play. Just run the ball for 15 yards. Fuck yeah, Max. I want to see more of that. Honestly, in my mind, I wrote down in my notes I wanted to see Max Duggan entire second half. I realized that would be dumb and not necessarily giving him a fair shot because they didn't game plan for Max Duggan, or Max Duggan was not part of the initial game plan. It seems like that would kind of be giving him a cheap shot. I would have liked to see him. My thought there was that it would be cool to see what both of these guys do for an equal amount of time against the same team. But at that point, I mean, man, they were up so much. So it didn't. It would have been dumb for them to do that, and I'm kind of glad that they didn't. But my immediate reaction was like, okay, second half Max Duggan. But he did come in, 15-yard run. What I would like is for it to be a Max Duggan start next week. I think that way at least we can see what we have going on. We can. I understand next week is a little bit different because it's against San Antonio and it's a conference opponent, and that game means more. It's a home game, and again, Manny Wilkins did really good operating this offense. He did really good operating this offense. Again, the 189 passing yards. I mean, what was that? 128 of those were yards after the catch, which is largely due to just Jacob Saylors and Ja'Cour Pearson just being fucking monsters. 2 3rd and 18s in the same drive, and both guys convert. Get the fuck out of here with that. 3rd and 18? You don't have something for that, man. You don't have something for that. And that's what Phil McGogan, you could hear him just actively, like audibly grunt on the broadcast. He's like, fuck. Yeah, you don't have a play for that, but you got players who can convert that kind of shit. Man, that was good. As far as Phil McGogan goes, let's see. I did have some notes. He got some calls in late, which I didn't like. It's an understandable thing. It's understandable that he did that. It's his first time ever calling a game. But there was the time where he's like laughing into the microphone. This was when the Battlehawks had their second turnover on downs. He got a play call in late on 3rd down. And then they had to burn a timeout for that. And then he's laughing into the microphone, laughing into Manny Wilkins' ear, essentially. And Manny Wilkins says, "Stop talking." Like, yeah, I get it. I didn't know if any of the quarterbacks the Battlehawks are going to have this year were going to have the same kind of moxie that AJ McCarron had, where he was telling Bruce Gradkowski to shut the fuck up and get the play call in. But Manny Wilkins is just yelling, "Stop talking," which to the people in the huddle has got to be like, "Well, I'm not talking. Who are you yelling at? Why are you yelling? I'm not talking at all." No, he was talking to Phil McGogan, who's laughing in his ear. And then it was a bad play, a bad sequence, bad play calling, which led to that turnover on downs. But he has time. He has room to build. Again, week 1, they executed really, really, really well against a team that they should execute really, really, really well against. We got more games this weekend. We got 1 tomorrow. We got 2 on Sunday. I'll be able to watch those, see how all this kind of compares to everything else that other teams are doing. I know typically defenses get going earlier. Start hotter than offenses do, but this Battlehawks offense, man, they fired on all cylinders, and I think a lot of it is due to that offensive line being so dominant. 273 rushing yards, guys. That's fucking crazy. That is an unbelievable number to hit in week 1. These guys have been playing with each other. They beat the shit out of a defensive line that needed the shit kicked out of them. Man, what a game. Anyway, thank you very much. That is my ReHawktion is what we're calling it. That's going to take me a second. It's a tough one. Say ReHawktion out loud. It's tough. Your Battlehawks are 1-0 after beating the absolute piss out of the Houston Roughnecks in week 1. 1-0, baby. Going into a home opener next weekend. I believe it's on Sunday night. That'll be fun. But yeah, that's what we got going on. I will be back with you later next week at some point with with my recap. I'm going to try to make that Tuesday or Wednesday. So keep an eye out for that. Thank you again very much for joining me. Go Birds, go Battlehawks, go Ironbirds. Anything that you say, somebody's going to translate that to be like, oh, that guy's a Battlehawks guy. Like I went to Home Depot today to get some bulbs. And I was kind of walking in, and then there's a guy who walked up and he goes, hey, can I help you find anything? I was like, no, I'm all good. But obviously, me saying that, he's like, oh, this guy, he's a Battlehawks guy. That's what that means. So that's where we're at. Thank you guys again very much for watching me. This has been Solid. If you want to listen to it in the future, you can do that on Spotify and Apple. It's Solid. If you want to watch it in the future, if you're listening to it, you can do that on Solid Pod on YouTube. Again, thank you. Go Birds. Catch you later.